Dear Aries, have you ever felt that you missed something truly big in this life? Perhaps it wasn't just a person, but a soul who had walked with you through past lifetimes, now waiting for you to fulfill an ancient promise. A doorway once opened before your eyes, a sacred invitation from the universe. But because of hesitation, because of hurt, or because of some invisible pride, you turned away. And from that moment on, you began to drift from the path that was always meant to lead you to the greatest awakening of your life. This September 10th, a gate of destiny will open once again. But this time, if you don't walk through it, you may never find your way back. In this video, I will show you why Aries is being chosen to activate a sacred mission, and what may unfold if you miss this final awakening. If you feel these words speaking for your heart, write in the comments, "I am ready to restore the destiny of my soul." Because that sentence might just be the first step on a journey that is already blessed. And now, let me tell you about what Aries has lost, something that may seem small, but quietly derailed an entire magnificent path. Aries, the pioneering soul of the cosmos, born to blaze trails, to fight, to begin what no one else dared to dream of. But perhaps because you were born too soon, too fast, too brilliantly, many Aries forgot one crucial thing, the reason why they began at all. You never lacked fire, but you did once turn your back on the very thing that lit you up. And since that moment, luck, instead of walking beside you, has begun to avoid you, as if it's waiting for you to return to the original starting point. To begin again this time, with an awakened heart. Do you remember the feeling, the first time you believed you were born to do something extraordinary? I'm not asking about what you're doing now. I'm asking about that first feeling, that early moment in life when you sensed a sacred calling to make a difference. For Aries, that feeling comes early. You are the first sign of the Zodiac, the origin fire, the first lightning strike that rips through the dark to make way for the light. But then, I've met countless Aries souls ablaze, unyielding, fierce, who gave up, right at the finish line. Just a moment. One pause, long enough to ask themselves, where am I really heading? Maybe you've run fast, bravely, with all your might, but have you ever truly sat down in stillness and asked your soul one simple question? Am I sure this is the path I was born to walk? Some of life's greatest failures don't come from enemies, not from circumstances, not even from fate. They come from one thing. We didn't listen to the voice of our soul. And for Aries, the one who leads the journey of the 12 zodiac signs, being silent with oneself is the deepest kind of betrayal. I've seen Aries collapse right in the midst of a victory they just achieved. Not because the victory wasn't real, but because they suddenly realized they had become someone else on the road to that glory. They abandoned their soul in exchange for the approval of the outside world. I did it. But is this really me? Some paths we call success are merely celebrated detours, and some failures are actually the beginning of the return home. For Aries, the deepest lesson is not in the power to begin, but in the courage to be honest about why you began. Not every race must be won, but every soul needs an honest reason to keep going. I say these things, not to make you feel guilty. I say them because I know you can repair it. Being the pioneer doesn't mean you can't turn back. In truth, only those who dare to turn around are the true pioneers of a new era. If you've ever felt like you missed something in this life because you were too stubborn, too fast, or too proud, tell me in the comments below. Perhaps you're not the only one who's ever missed a chance that the universe had arranged. Writing it down is a way to begin again with honesty and courage. Inside every Aries soul is a loneliness no one sees. They are the ones who run ahead, who fight first, who seize the first light, but when they turn back, no one is standing with them. You were strong enough to make the world respect you, but when you were soft, no one stayed to hold you. And that is Aries' deepest wound. The wound of the one who clears the path, but no one was waiting. The wound of the one who sacrifices, but no one ever saw it. And in that nameless pain, they chose silence. They chose to pretend, I'm fine. But you don't have to carry that anymore. On September 10th, under the influence of Jupiter and Mars, a gate of destiny will open. Not to make you start over, but to help you remember why you began. Have you left something behind? A person? A dream? A version of yourself? They or it may be returning on September 10th, not to blame you, but to give you a rare chance to restore the destiny of your soul. And if you miss it again, what will remain inside you? Regret or self-forgiveness? You get to choose, and that choice begins today. For Aries, the energy of this September is not just astrology. It is a summoning from the universe that it's time you are no longer the silent warrior, but the one who heals themselves with the bravery that was once forgotten. Write in the comments, "I am ready to return to understand myself." Because that sentence is the key to reopening the door you once left behind. And if you feel this touches something in your heart, share this video with an Aries you know, someone who was once strong, once on fire, but now only needs a spark to be called back into their name. Because if you dare to turn around, you will see the light was never at the end of your run. It was in the place where you had the courage to stop and listen. And when you listen, you'll hear a voice calling from afar, the light of truth, of wisdom, and of freedom waiting for you. That is when Sagittarius, the symbol of faith and divine direction, will rise from the horizon. Keep going, because what comes next will reveal who once needed you and why your absence left a space that nothing else could ever fill. You weren't there before, but now you can return. They are waiting for you on September 10th. There are days that pass like any other, but there are also days marked on the map of the soul. September 10th is one of those days. You don't need to fully understand astrology to feel it, because anything truly sacred doesn't need much explanation. We just need to feel. And if your heart has been ringing strangely lately, if you wake up feeling like you're getting closer to something but can't name it yet, then maybe September 10th is the gateway you once passed by. And now, it opens again once more. The sun forms a trine with Jupiter, the planet of luck, of faith, of boundless expansion, and ignites within you a profound question. Do I still believe in anything? And when the light of faith meets the fiery current of Mars, Aries' ruling planet, something miraculous happens. You not only feel, but are given the power to begin again. Not through recklessness, but through a courage that has depth. I know, forgiveness is not easy, especially when the one you need to forgive is yourself. Maybe you hurt someone, maybe you turned away at the very moment they needed you most, not because you were cruel, but because you carried too many unnamed fears. But the most wondrous thing about being human is our ability to rise again. And September 10th is an invitation to resurrect your own destiny. As Jupiter moves through Gemini, forming a trine 120 degrees with Mars, it creates a perfect stream of energy to deliver an important message, act with courage, expand inner truth, Jupiter. This is the time to say what you've never dared to say, to write that letter you've held in your heart too long, to take someone's hand and say, "I'm sorry." If there's someone who once waited for your apology, who once hoped you would turn back, will you be the one to speak first this September 10th? You don't know if they're still there. You don't know if they'll forgive you. But you know this, when your heart is brave, the universe will arrange the rest. One thing I've learned from observing thousands of souls, forgiveness is not weakness. It is the deepest expression of inner strength. Only those who are truly brave can face their own wrongs and say, "I won't run anymore." And if any sign in the Zodiac has that kind of courage, it's Aries. In today's world, where everyone runs fast, speaks faster, and reacts instead of feeling to stop, apologize, and make things right, has become a kind of inner sacred ritual. The soul's journey is not always about moving forward. Sometimes the soul needs to turn back, look at the one who was hurt by us, and gently say, "I didn't know how much it hurt you then, but now I do." That is the moment karma dissolves. That is when the broken string is reconnected by light. If there's someone you still think about, someone you never apologized to, someone you once loved but hurt, someone who once trusted you and you let them down, write in the comments, "I am ready to face it and heal." No need to name them. The universe understands the language of the heart. You may not be able to go back to that moment, but you can choose to become a kinder person today. And sometimes, when you change, someone else's soul finds freedom too. September 10th is not just a date on the calendar. It's a sacred appointment between you and destiny. A day when the planet of action, Mars, and the planet of fortune, Jupiter, say to you together, "Don't stay silent. Do the right thing, right now." I once met an Aries, a girl who was always strong. She once said, "I never apologize first. I hate feeling weak." But one day she realized the truest strength wasn't in staying silent out of pride, but in stepping forward, teary-eyed and saying, "I was wrong." The person didn't return, but she was set free. And from that day on, she lived lighter, more honestly, because she knew she was no longer running away from herself. If there's something still left unsaid, a door once shut, a crack that your own hands caused, then on September 10th, be brave enough to walk toward it. Not to fix the past, but to transform the future. When you dare to forgive, you're no longer who you used to be. When you dare to apologize, you don't just heal another person, you unlock a higher spiritual gate within yourself. And that is when Aries' symbol of light and wisdom will appear, bringing with them the torch of truth, guiding you out of the maze you once locked yourself in. Because light never enters a heart that remains closed. It only steps in when you're ready to say, "I've learned my lesson. I'm ready to rise to a higher level now." Are you ready? In the next part, we will reveal what happens if you miss the September 10th gateway, and how the universe will bring that lesson back to you in a different form. Stay here. What's deepest has yet to be said. Have you ever wondered, do I really matter to anyone? In your emptiest, loneliest moments, have you ever felt like just a misplaced puzzle piece, unseen, unwanted, unneeded? I know that feeling, and I also know that feeling is not true. Because if you carry the Aries flame in your soul, then no matter how much you think you've failed, how invisible you believe you've become, someone, somewhere, once prayed to be guided by your light. Aries is the flame of origin, the first breath of life. Without Aries, there is no beginning. They are the pioneer, the one who doesn't wait for orders, the one who steps forward even when unsure who will follow. They are the starter, but often not the one who stays until the end. And that is exactly why the mirror they offer is not one of perfection, but of pure, undiluted courage. I once saw a child say, "I want to be like my dad, because he's always the first to stand up when everyone else is afraid." That father was an Aries, and he had no idea that simply by living in alignment with his fire, he had become the image his child prayed to each night. Please let me be as brave as him. You think you've ruined your life, but in truth, you are the light someone's been praying to see each night. Maybe you don't realize it, but you've been the reason someone didn't give up. You were the strength that helped someone live one more day. You were the symbol of something someone never believed they could become. You are Aries. You are the first trumpet from heaven calling the sleeping souls back to life. In Christianity, the trumpet blown on Judgment Day awakens the dead. That trumpet is the soul archetype of Aries. You weren't just born to begin a journey. You were born to awaken. Awaken those who've lost the will to live. Awaken hearts that turn to stone. Awaken yourself every time you stray from your inner light. Every Aries who enters someone's life brings with them an invisible torch. And whether they stay or leave, they leave behind something that cannot be forgotten. Now breathe and think of someone. Someone who once needed you. Someone who once waited for you. Someone who never said it out loud, but deep down, believed in your presence. And for some reason, you weren't there. Write their name in the comments, because sometimes forgiveness begins by daring to name the pain. Not to blame yourself, but to know you once mattered deeply. And you still do if you dare to return. You were the one who threw the first stone into the still pond of fate. You were the first ripple to awaken stagnant waters. You were the first spark to melt the ice in someone else's heart. People need you, because no one shakes the world the way you do. No one dares speak what must be said when all remain silent. No one acts when fear has gripped the crowd. But you, though imperfect, are always the first signal. Sometimes Aries just needs to understand this. You don't always need to be strong. You just need to be honest with the light you carry. Others don't need you to be a hero. They just need you to be present with your truth and your natural, unapologetic courage. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to reignite the light for the souls who once needed me." That phrase is not just a commitment, it's a summoning of the forgotten light within you. When you realize that someone once needed you, when you no longer underestimate your worth, when you understand that your light is a gift from the Creator, that's the moment the Aries gate will open. Because Aries leads with the light of wisdom. They cannot appear if you're still denying the truth of who you are. And I believe this, Aries once awakened will not only shine again, but will light the flame for the entire world. In the next part, we'll explore, if you don't return, what might shatter in someone else's life? Because sometimes an absence is not just an empty space, it's a silent collapse that no one dares to name. And you, Aries, you might be the key to stop that from happening. There are souls born not to live peacefully. They were born to break, then rise, then break again. And rise again with steadier eyes, softer hearts, and a quiet will that silences even the stars. Aries is such a soul. Do you know how strong you really are? Not in the way the world praises. Not because you've achieved something, but because you once fell into a pit and climbed out, with no one watching. No one saw you cry in the dark. No one knew you once wanted to give up on yourself. And no one knew you came back, not because you had to live, but because your soul refused to surrender. You can shatter yourself, destroy what you once built, walk away, disappear, end it all. But you're also the first to rebuild the tower of willpower from the ashes. No one needs to lift you. No one needs to apologize. You don't ask for pity. You just need one reason to begin again. And sometimes that reason is as simple as, I want to live true to my soul at least once in this life. Do you remember the last time you truly believed in something with all your heart? Not because you had to, not out of fear, but believed like a child clinging to their mother's hand, believed like a traveler glimpsing water in the desert. Do you remember? If you've forgotten, let this part remind you. Your soul has never stopped thirsting to believe again. This world doesn't need more people pretending to be perfect. It needs those who dare to fail, openly. Who dare to stand in front of the world and say, I was wrong. I lost my way. I abandoned myself. And then, dare to raise their head and begin again. Because true light doesn't shine from those who never fell. It shines from those who turned their cracks into windows so the light could enter. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know who you've hurt or how deeply you've hurt yourself. But if you're still here today, still listening, still feeling, then you haven't lost. You're just standing at the threshold between your old abyss and your coming dawn, and you can step toward the light with one sacred but simple declaration. Write in the comments, I am ready to repair what once shattered in me. Don't write it if you're not honest. But if you do, know that the universe will listen. No one is beyond forgiveness. No mistake is too great if you've learned something from it. And no journey truly ends as long as you still have the courage to say, I want to live again, but this time with a heart that has healed. Healing your destiny is not a miracle. It's a sacred art. It's a deliberate choice, a persistent gesture, a conscious breath, a silent prayer whispered into the noise of life. It is the process of returning to your soul after you've grown tired of trying to be someone else. You don't need to be perfect to be forgiven. You only need to be truthful. You don't need to be strong to start again. You only need the courage to begin. You don't need to be recognized to be worthy. You only need to see yourself through the eyes of compassion. Like Pluto, the surgeon of the shadows, only when you hit the bottom can you rise with real light. Mars, your ruling planet, isn't just about action. It's the necessary burning that prepares you for rebirth. In the second week of September, as Mars aligns with the soul's axis, Aries will be offered a rare chance to return and rewrite what they once abandoned. I once met an older Aries man. He had lived his whole life like a warrior, cold, logical, untouchable, until one day he sat before his wife's grave, his hands trembling like a child. I was wrong, and I have no time left to fix it. He wept for the first time in his 60 years, but in that moment he was healed. Not because he fixed the past, but because he chose truth over pride. And truth always knows the way back to light. When Aries returns to heal, Sagittarius appears, the torchbearer of meaning. Sagittarius doesn't come to tell you what to do. They come to reignite within you the meaning of everything you've endured. They help you go further, not with stronger legs, but with a heart freed from burden. If you're standing between brokenness and healing, know this. You are not alone. Thousands of souls are like you, and a whole universe is waiting for you to say the words you fear most. I've been hurt, and I'm ready to heal. In the next chapter, we will go deeper into something sacred, how to turn pain into light and let that light lead you toward a higher destiny, a place only the most courageous souls are allowed to enter. So keep walking, because the most beautiful part hasn't arrived yet. There's a battle no one sees. It doesn't take place in the outside world, no gunfire, no visible wounds, but inside, a silent war unfolds, tight, breathless, relentless. It is the battle between willpower and surrender. And you, Aries, you are the only warrior standing at that crossroads. The year 2025 won't be easy. It's not made for weak souls. And it certainly won't forgive those who refuse to grow up. Because Pluto, the planet of karma, rebirth, and deep transformation, is moving into a very specific position. Direct opposition to Aries' sun. What does that mean? It means the very core of your light is being challenged. You'll be forced to face the shadows you've long avoided, the wounds left unhealed, the emotions you've suppressed, the memories you thought were buried. They will return. Not to punish you, but to restore you. But that restoration can only come if you don't give up on yourself first. I once heard the story of an Aries woman. She was once a radiant light, always smiling, always strong, always in control of her life. But life hit hard. The one she loved betrayed her. Her family misunderstood her. Her career collapsed. She didn't talk about it. She just disappeared. Everyone assumed she's probably okay. But no one knew she once thought about ending everything. No one knew her light had gone out. Until the day, September 10th. The phone rang. The name on the screen was someone she thought she'd never hear from again. The voice on the other end trembled. "I don't know if I still have a chance, but I'm sorry." And in that moment, it wasn't the voice that made her cry. It was the realization that the universe had not abandoned her. Would you forgive someone who once hurt you? If they appeared on September 10th with regret in their eyes? You don't have to answer now. Just listen to your heart. The universe doesn't always give second chances. People don't always have the courage to say, "I was wrong." And time doesn't always wait for you if you keep rejecting the pain. If the opportunity comes and you're not ready to receive it, that's the real loss. Not because they left again, but because you abandoned your own chance at salvation. A part of you wants to forgive. Another part says, "I don't want to get hurt again." A part of you misses the light. Another whispers, "I don't deserve happiness." You are not crazy. You are not weak. You are simply standing at the center of the battle between will and surrender. It's not about defeating someone. It's not about power. The power of Mars doesn't lie in the first strike, but in the choice not to retreat, even when you are the one who's wounded. If you've ever stood at the edge between continuing to live and letting go, if you've ever been so exhausted you wished to disappear, but even a small part of you still wanted to stay, then write in the comments, "I'm still here, and I'm ready to choose myself again." That sentence might save another soul, not just yours. Because someone out there is reading it right now and realizing they are not alone. September 10th does not come to bring more pain. It comes to open the final gate where you can choose to let everything go or to embrace your soul and begin again. No one is forcing you, but if you walk through that gate with awareness, what awaits on the other side won't be pain anymore. It will be the light you've lost long ago. And if you do move forward, if you don't give up, that light will not only illuminate your path. Aries, the soul of the torchbearer, will receive sacred knowledge. The understanding that everything you've gone through was never meant to destroy you. It was preparing you to receive your higher destiny, and that destiny is drawing near. You've walked with me through every chapter of this journey, not with your feet, but with your heart. And if you're still here, still listening, then maybe the universe is using this very voice to whisper one final message. It's time to live for your soul's true mission. We can't go back and rewrite the beginning. We can't fix the days when we were stubborn, careless, or absent. But we can do something even greater. The journey of Aries is not to conquer others, but to forgive themselves. No one can erase your scars, but you can let those cracks shine, like how light passes through a broken clay jar and becomes the most beautiful thing in the room. Thank you for not walking away. Thank you for letting your heart be touched. Thank you for reading all the way to the end, even if you're still breaking inside. because you, with your quiet patience and silent courage today, are helping heal an entire timeline. You are not alone. You are an irreplaceable piece in the soul map of this world. If this video has touched something deep inside you, don't just read these words. Let them be the moment you stop, breathe deeply, and recognize that a part of you still longs to live. I am ready to step into my great destiny on September 10th. This sentence is not for others to read. It is for the universe to see, and for you to finally see how ready you are. Share this video with someone who once was a strong Aries, but has forgotten that truth. Because maybe they are in need of a light, and you may be the one carrying that light to them. The journey doesn't end here, because once you've walked through the fire of Aries, another soul will appear, carrying light, faith, and the sacred key to help you go farther than you've ever imagined. That soul is Sagittarius, the symbol of spiritual truth, higher knowledge, and divine rebirth. I'll see you there at the next gate.